Okay. All right, Nick. Nick, we're gonna have to have a talk. We're gonna have to have a talk, and it's gonna be a little uncomfortable. We have to talk about your outfit tonight.
Paint me like one of your French girls, Jack.
I get that you're trying to get into the spirit of International Women's Day, but I mean, okay? You know what? You know what you look like? You know what you look like? You look like one of those Sesame Street yep, nope aliens. If it was just sprayed in jizz.
So a Huffington Post columnist it is then.
Pretty much. Welcome to the YouTube Saints, everybody. Happy Women's Day. For Women's Day, we figured we'd get the most badass woman that we know.
Biggest feminist on the internet.
Right. Karen Straughan.
What?
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 What did you do, Jeff? What did Jeff do now, Karen?
Karen's gonna beat the shit out of you, man.
Did you just call me the biggest feminist on the internet?
No. My alter ego, Rashida Akka, did. Oh.
You can't.
Actually,
an excuse for your faux pas.
I'm loving, actually. I'm looking at this now and I'm realizing I think the trash bag scarf is going to be the hottest thing to hit South Philadelphia next spring.
You know what? When I was a kid, we used to wear those as slickers when it rained. We'd cut armholes in a neck hole and wear them.
Yep, my mom made me do the same thing.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to have to wear these as shirts and jackets too because my parents said I didn't deserve clothing.
I mean, about like 12 years ago, I had to use those things all the time to dispose of all the bodies that I collected up in New Orleans, but that's different.
When I was young, I used to have to wear these things every time I brought a girl home from the bar because I have bad taste.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you know, we barely made the quota because it is International Women's Day and there are rules, and so we had to get our first female guest ever.
I'm kind of retarded.
That's true.
So thank God we made that in time. So thank you, Karen. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no, you literally you hit me up at like an hour ago or something like that, and I was like, fuck, I don't want to do dishes. So.
You know, I get the same feeling when it comes to the show. Like an hour before the show, I'm just like, fuck, I don't want to do this.
Well, I was just like, fuck it, I'll do this show. I have dishes that need to be done. I have clothes that need to be folded. You know, I spent my entire day dealing with logistics for, shit that I am not, okay, I am one of those people that I have said before in the past, quite seriously, not jokingly, I couldn't organize a trip to the toilet if there were more than two people involved, right? And I'm in the midst of organizing something right now, and it's just like, why did you recruit me to do this? So yeah, no, I'm just ready to like lie back and shoot the shit and badmouth International Women's Day.
That's how we do.
That's pretty much all we ever do.
This is a celebration, because like really we are so hard up on content. We make fun of one fake holiday pretty much year round, and nobody catches on.
Yeah, we're pretty much I mean, like it was we had the special edition Midweek Saints for Ash Wednesday. We don't give a fuck about Ash Wednesday. Who cares? Yeah,
I actually got hit up by the team from Captain Marvel there. Once they saw me running out of ideas so regularly, they said, you should come and join the team. But I'm like, no, I can't. I'm loyal to Saints. The MCU will have to wait.
Well, honestly, what did I just write? I wrote a satirical article. I forget where it was published, but it was like, it was essentially declaring Galentine's Day to be a sexist and racist holiday.
Valentine's Day?
Galentine's Day, not Valentine's Day. Galentine's Day, right? Because there was that that Parks and Recreation show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Leslie Knope in that show, she like had on February 13th, she would get together with her girlfriends for brunch, have some mimosas, eat some frittatas and waffles and pancakes and stuff, and celebrate female friendship. And then, so it kind of took on this kind of Festivus aspect, right?
Okay.
You know, where it became a thing, you know, in sort of different subcultures. And so years later, now you have retailers essentially saying, here are these suggested Galentine's Day gifts, male tears coffee mugs, and the future is female t-shirts. And I was like, oh my God. So like literally women can't have a day to celebrate female friendship without bashing men. That's great.
Right.
That's
why can't it just be about hanging out with your gal pals? Does it have to be about fuck dudes, you know?
So then I was like, then I took the approach of, you know, well, let's take an intersectional feminist approach to this, you know? Like I was a waitress. I would have been the person serving these bourgeois women their freaking mimosas and their frittatas, and probably not getting tipped very well, right? You know, Mother's Day is the worst day of the year for a waitress for tipping. It's like it's the busiest day of the year, but it's the least lucrative for servers, and I think that's because people feel forced to take their mothers out, because if they don't take their mothers out for Mother's Day, then they're going to hear about it for the next 7 months. Whereas if they just send their dad a card, he's just going to be grateful for anything, right? So essentially, we have this situation where it's like, okay, what about the women? What about all of the women of color and the low socioeconomic status women who are serving these women? What about women who are like me, who don't really, we're neuroatypical. We don't really have friends to take out to breakfast or brunch or whatever. What if I can't afford it? What if I can't afford to, what if I am Muslim? Am I just supposed to sit there and watch you drink mimosas and eat bacon? What if it falls during Ramadan?
Right. See, I personally, though, I did find that when it comes to Galentine's Day, I do love the growing tradition of, you know, the Snapchat bitches just counting down their faves as they show up, and then they all get together and talk shit about the next one who's going to show up and stop the minute they walk in. Good stuff. It's basically, it's Becky-tine's Day, in a sense.
Oh, yeah, the Mean Girls Day, really, is what it is. But you know, like I'm perfectly happy with, you know, a celebration of female friendship, but I just don't like the fact that the feminist agenda is hijacking this holiday.
Holiday?
Well, it's a holiday in the spirit of Festivus.
Yeah, it's like as much a holiday as basically it's like I'm starting to think holidays these days are just excuses for the bank workers lobby to push for days off, paid days off.
Always were. They always were that.
The banks are always behind everything. We know this. I watched Young Turks. Okay.
So, yeah, and the greeting card companies.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. They're like fucking vultures. They'll latch on to anything.
Sorry, you said greeting cards. For one thing, for some reason I thought you said the green card companies. I'm like, huh?
Ooh. That's different. That's different.
Let's not bring immigration into this.
Yeah, let's dodge that one.
We're trying to keep things out, not bring them in.
I did not know what a frittata was, and now I will murder a human being for one of these. This looks fucking amazing. What the fuck?
Yeah, they can be really, really good. I used to actually work at a high-end restaurant in a 5-star hotel. It was like a luxury hotel. And I was the Sunday brunch. I was the first day cook, and Sundays were the days that the chef and the sous chef took off.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to come up with a unique menu every week of 6 to 7 items for brunch.
Yeah.
And frittatas were really like, because you can throw all kinds of things into them, and just like make them really, really good. You know, like a little bit of spaghetti squash and some ratatouille, and throw it into the eggs, and there you go, right? Italian cheese.
It looks it looks basically like a crustless quiche almost.
It's like an omelet, but everything is actually mixed in. Like omelets are supposed to the egg is supposed to be its own thing, and then you're supposed to put the stuff on top of it and then fold it over.
Right.
And it's not supposed to be, an omelet is not supposed to be browned at all. A frittata is supposed to have a little bit of crispness along the bottom. It's supposed to have a little bit of browning. So
and it's baked. Yeah, it's definitely like it's semi-quiche-ish. But yeah.
Can we also take a moment though, just to appreciate the meta nature to getting one of the preeminent anti-feminists on the show on International Women's Day, so we could talk about things we do in the kitchen.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. If ever there was a good example of like a good panel to be talking about that, it's Karen and us two, dude. And we're both cooks. We are fucking cooks, not chefs. We're cooks. We work for a living. Oh, you were a chef. Oh,
yeah, I was a chef. I'm a chef.
Well, I could have been a chef, but I decided, looking at the chefs around me, that they're all alcoholics and they sleep 4 hours a night and they all have ulcers.
Well, technically, because you had to come up with your own menu items, I class that as a chef, because my like dividing line between a cook and a chef is a cook can follow a recipe and make a really good dish. A chef can just look at what's available to cook with and create something just off the top of their head. Just be like, that'll work, yep, hey, there we go.
This is the difference between a cook and a chef. The chef is a glorified fucking inventory stockman who runs around and makes sure that we have plenty of shit for the cooks to actually do, because the cooks do all the damn work. And then he comes in and he's like, I don't like this. And then he leaves and you do the same thing anyway, because that's what the customers want. Because the chef doesn't actually know what the customers want, because he's not a real fucking worker. He's a lazy, slack piece of shit.
Oh, not the chefs that I knew, but that might be like a product of the time when I was actually cooking.
Right.
You know, like the chefs that I knew were very hands-on, and they were doing inventory, and inventory is not fun. You know, when you are a chef at a high-end place, and, you know, once every week you have to do a general inventory, and then once a month you have to weigh your containers of spices, right? And that's all for insurance purposes, right? So that if the place burns down, the company can be reimbursed for the value of what's there, right? And so, but he was, you know, like the chef that I worked under, he was absolutely stunning. He was stellar. He was really, really, he was creative. He used to be a logger. He was a logger. And then, you know, he's like this giant, tall guy, whose last name, ironically, was Small. But he was this huge, tall, beardy guy who came through, you know, he worked as a logger for years and years, and then he decided to do this. And he was very talented, and he was extremely devoted, and he probably worked about 14 hours a day, just managing the staff, dealing with inventory, dealing with the higher-ups, and then cooking on the line.
It's a crapshoot with your chefs too, because I mean you'll get good ones and bad ones. Like I had one of the people who I learned the most from when I was in the kitchen world was this. I loved the character too. The guy who was this very gay, like very like frosted tips, no problem with the limp wrist kind of gay, right?
Leave
like
town.
Yeah, and well, he was from L.A. He was a lawyer for a while. And then he got bored with that, and he ran for, like, California Assembly. I don't know if he won or not, but he got bored with politics, bored with law, so he moved down to Tijuana and just opened his own restaurant, and then brought in local chefs to teach him what he wanted to learn from them, and then he put his own spin on it. And then this restaurateur who opened this place out in Peterborough called Canteen, which had the largest tequila selection in all of New England, brought him all the way from Mexico. And so this guy, yeah, he kind of like you'd say, Jeff, like he would do a lot of line work, but he just sort of wander around like some kind of lost like spirit haunting the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I'd be doing the morning rice. I'd put a big ass rice pot together for like the day's production, and he'd just kind of walk up, and I wouldn't even hear him come up. He'd just be standing on my shoulders like, what are we going to do to this? What the fuck? What? I'm cooking the rice. I'm cooking the rice to spec. He's like, yeah, but what are we going to do with it? What are we going to do with it? Find some stuff. I'm like, what stuff? He's like, anything you want. So I'd come back with like onions, beans, spices, all this different shit. And he'd be like, oh, smell that. And smell that. You think they'd work together? I don't know. Well, let's find out. Put it in the production rights. Like, okay, this is technically not my fault, right? If it doesn't work.
Okay, like the cultural thing about chefs versus cooks for me comes from New Orleans, because that's where I learned how to cook. My first teacher was Miss Denise. You didn't call her chef. She didn't mind being called a cook, but she did everything a chef would do. But you didn't call her any of that. She didn't like being called chef. She liked to be called Miss Denise. And a lot of it was because she grew up in New Orleans with really pretentious chefs that were annoying. So when I went to my next cooking job, I had a pretentious chef, and he was an asshole and an idiot, didn't know what he was talking about. The second one that I had, great chef, dude knew what he was fucking doing. Like, he fucking cooked in the mean fucking streets, like right in the heart of the ghetto of Chicago. Dude knew how to cook food under pressure. He was just a gambler and kept getting in jail, so I'd keep having to take over for him all the time. And he also worked the line every day. Every day he worked the line and did his job on top of that. Mad respect for that guy. Then the next 3 chefs that I worked under, total dicks. Total dicks. Total dicks.
Oh, yeah, no. When Chef Small was discharged from his duties because... I think it was because the hotel came under new management. There was a new general manager, and she was like super, super bottom line oriented. And she realized that if she laid off or fired the chef and promoted the sous chef, the existing sous chef at the time, who was already had racked up numerous complaints from various staff for being a toxic boss, essentially. But if she promoted him, she'd be able to like run the kitchen for, a margin, like a fraction of the cost, right? That she was paying this other chef, right? So that's what she did. And this was the guy, I'm not going to say his name, but this was the guy where I actually quit a job without notice, and I've never done this before or since, quit a job without notice. Because of the behavior of my boss towards me. And,
Wow.
And I sent, I went to unemployment insurance. It was called EI. It's called EI in Canada, employment insurance in Canada, not unemployment insurance. But I went to EI and I said, I quit my job. I just walked off the job. Right? Like I have bone spurs on the inside of my lower jaw from clenching my teeth while sleeping over the course of months, right?
God,
when I was working under this guy, right? I woke up with migraines every morning, right? Just knowing that I had to go in and work under this guy. He was so freaking awful, right? And he was one of these guys where he'd have 1 or 2 people that he would treat really well, but he would go out of his way to show you that he was treating them really well so that you'd know you were on a shit list. Right?
Of course.
Okay. Yeah, so he would play the staff off of each other, and he was just absolutely atrocious. And so I went and I applied and I said, I quit with cause. I am being sexually harassed, right? Yeah, no, he never tried to bend me over the desk. No, but he commented on my genitals. He commented on the size of my breasts on a daily basis. He would introduce me to new staff as Chevron. This is Chevron. She's our town pump.
What?
Right?
Whoa, what the fuck?
Wow.
Oh yeah, absolutely, just unbelievable shit, right? Wow. And then he would say, "She's your boss, but you don't have to listen to her."
Supposed to.
Okay, and so I'm
save that shit for the wait staff.
Yeah, no, it's like literally like, and if it had just been banter, right? If it had just been sexual banter, it would have been fine. But when he started saying things like, she's your boss, but you don't have to listen to her, right? But she's responsible for your performance, right? And I'm stuck in this position where he's telling the people who are working under me that they don't have to do anything I say, but I'm still being held responsible for them, right? And then there's this entire undertone of, yeah, she's the town pump, she's the town bicycle, all of this crap. And I'm like, what the fuck is with this guy? He hired his nephew, and his nephew quit because he was being bullied and treated like shit by his own uncle, right? So anyway, so I go to EI and I say, yeah, no, I was being sexually harassed, and I was like having serious issues with health problems and stuff and stress and all of that, and I just quit. And they said, oh, should be no problem. And then, of course, they notified the hotel that I had made this claim, right, that I was being harassed, and that's why I quit. And even though I hadn't made a claim against the hotel in terms of anything that the hotel could be held accountable for, I hadn't filed a lawsuit, I hadn't made a human rights complaint, nothing, right? I was just like, I just want my EI, right? They contested it. They contested it because they were like, there is no way we want anything to do with sexual harassment to be attached to our company in any way whatsoever. And so we're going to fight this so that we look lily white and pure and all pristine and all of this, right?
Of course. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I ended up I was denied my EI. Then I went to the board of referees, which is a 3-person panel for a hearing. And they denied me, right? Even though I had people who had previously worked at the place, including the previous chef, coming in and testifying on my behalf, right?
Wow.
And then, yeah, and they denied me because I didn't make a complaint to the manager who said she had an open door policy for complaints, but who fired the original chef and promoted this guy to chef, even though several complaints already existed about him, right? So I'm like, why would I complain to her? She promoted this guy knowing that there are a whole bunch of people who've complained about him.
It's definitely not the person you want arbitrating over this kind of shit, you know?
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to highlight. Well, he was ultimately fired, right?
Oh, okay. So while they were defending him at the board of referees, right? He had already been fired for throwing a plate of hot food at a server. Right? But they were still defending him because they were defending their own reputation as an establishment that would not tolerate that. Right? And so essentially I just let it go. After I lost the board of referees thing, I let it go. Right? And I had an intern from Legal Aid help me with that hearing. Right? And so I had a file at Legal Aid, an intern file at Legal Aid, right? And so like a year and a half later, I get this phone call, and I'd moved from Victoria to Port Hardy, British Columbia, right? Like way up island. And this new intern at Legal Aid tracked down my contact information, phoned me and said, I think we could take this to the umpire, right? To the actual one guy in charge of everything for the province. I think we could do this. I think you have a case. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking deal with it anymore. Like, I have a kid. I'm like, I put that all behind me. I'm done with that, right? And it's no. You don't have to do anything. I will just take the case file. I will go to Vancouver and I will argue it in front of the umpire. And then 6 months out, and I'm like, okay, go ahead. 6 months after that, I get this giant freaking huge docket in the mail, right? Full of all of this atrociously, like unbelievably hostile language from the umpire against the company that I worked for, the person who denied me my benefits in the first place, the board of referees. They ignored their guidelines at their peril. He used words like malfeasance, right? He said, not in some of the language here is something I could not imagine in the worst case of locker room bravado, right? And he just reamed the shit out of them. And then it took me another year to get my benefits because
holy shit. That's crazy.
EI, stop, dog. EI said, they told me, well, we closed your case. when you lost the board of referees, we closed your case. So now we have to open up a completely new case file and write it from scratch. And, it's taking so long because it's already taken this long is really what they said. Right. But I did get my money, which was nice.
I would say, too, in respect to that now fired chef, if you guys are so interested, you go ahead up on YouTube, find Chef Red Pill. That's what he's going by these days. He's got a very, 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 very well slept channel going on there.
500,000 subscribers.
Is that the coach?
No, I don't know. We're just fucking around.
Yeah, it's just a joke. I mean, because it sounded like the guy you were talking about was a duplicitous and feckless scumbag who played by his own rules but didn't really know what they said, and that just reminded me of somebody.
Oh, so you were talking about Coach? Okay. Anyway.
Well, like honestly, like I generally get along with men better than I get along with women.
Sure.
Just in general. Right. But there are some men out there who are like horrifically awful. Right. Just like there are many women out there who are horrifically awful. And, like to say that doesn't exist is ridiculous. Right.
As a fun side note, though, our chat is really, really wants to see your dog.
Oh. So. Okay. I can turn on my camera. Borat, come here. Come on.
That's the best.
Borat? Oh my God.
Yeah. This is the one that's been barking. Okay, I'm turning my camera on.
I just can't help but hope that. Oh yeah, please give this doggo a small toy of a hand knitted wedding bag, so he can go and claim his bride.
Oh, he's got a problem with lipstick.
He's putting it on inappropriately?
No, his penis comes out and it looks like a tube of lipstick.
Oh, I was thinking.
And he doesn't even look ashamed. That's really what bothers me about the whole thing.
That's why I'm so proud of Doggo. Oh, it's a good Borat. It's a good boy.
Yeah, no, he's actually really sweet. The other dog, Kevin, is like the psycho. Borat, Borat is like cuddly and he's sweet and he's wonderful.
Chat's loving it right now. Yeah. They are adoring small Borat and his lipstick penis.
Let me catch up on some of these Streamlabs. Addie wants to says, "Hi, I'm drunk. Hi. Wait, it's not Irrational Women's Day. Fuck, I thought I had my own holiday for a minute there. Oh shit. Oh my God. Rimshi says, here, actually, let me see if I can get this. There we go. Nice. Pow, popped it. Rimshi says, there will be a town hall for the Saints Discord server on Sunday, March 10th at 11 a.m. PST, 2 p.m. EST, and again at 3 p.m. PST, 6 p.m. EST. Join us to hear what people have to say and to voice any comments, concerns, or suggestions. It's a good update for the fam. I guess we're going back to this. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going back to that because, like, I have that light behind me, but that's the only light I have.
Oh, no, it's fine. You're fine.
Yeah, you were fine. Either way, works.
Jable says, Pinky's up for my poor front tooth that I broke while celebrating my birthday, and now I have to pay like $3,300 to replace. Holy shit. Pinky's up to your poor tooth, buddy. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, no, that's really awful. My son, he lost a tooth near the front of his mouth. If it had been way in the back, he would have ignored it. But he had to have a tooth pulled near the front, and he went and he got an implant, and that was cause he's 24, right? So you're not gonna like just leave that and get all the bone loss in your jaw and all of that, and then lose the adjacent teeth because of the bone loss and all of that. So I was just like, no, you're sitting, you're like, you've been living at home, you don't spend any money, you're sitting on a nest egg of like $45,000, you little fuck. And because he just doesn't spend money. And go and get an implant, and he did, and it's actually that's what I would recommend to anybody who loses a tooth, is like just save up and spend that money and get an implant, because it actually saves the adjacent teeth, it saves your jaw, it saves
it could save money in the long run too. If you spend more money now, you won't have to spend as much later.
Yeah.
And Jables, before you get that tooth repaired, if you've got a busted ass tooth in the front of your mouth, please, please, please,
send us
make a Cotton Eye Joe music video. So Jeff can make you part of the torture.
Jessica Bo says, "Hey Jeff, Yami here. Hi Yami. Saw Captain Marvel and it was amazing. It helped with the research, but I figured I've done enough. Also, hi Wizard. So okay, this movie Captain Marvel is very contentious with people right now. A lot of people are like, it's fine. It's just kind of underwhelming. Our friend Brad, the cinema snob, he liked it. And our friend Yami here said that she liked it. I'm gonna have to go fucking see it just so I can make up my own fucking mind.
Yeah, it's the sad thing with this is one of the things I really, really fucking hate about this culture war shit is we are so deep in this shit that we have people who will call it a brilliant movie and an iconic film, and other people who will call it like worthless trash before anyone has seen it, just based around all of the fucking Twitter marketing and shit.
Well,
Meanwhile,
this is really a call to due process, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, like let's watch the fucking movie before we draw our conclusions.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure here's the thing. It's like Marvel movies and comic book movies in general, superhero movies, not necessarily a very high bar to get over. It's just not. But like I could easily see Captain Marvel being a dull movie based on the simple fact that next to nobody who likes Marvel comics gives much of a fuck about Captain Marvel, period. And Brie Larson is a dull actress. But if they pulled it off, which I hope that they did, because I don't like bad movies. I like good movies. I don't want there to be bad movies.
I like bad movies.
I like bad movies. Yeah, I like that. But I mean, like, Paul Feig's Ghost
Outer Space.
Or anything from Neil Breen. It's just amazing. But when it comes to these kind of movies, like, it was the same thing with Ghostbusters 2016. I would have rather than a lot of people who would say, like, I wish they never made it or whatever. I would have preferred it was just a good movie that actually had a script.
Well, I remember doing like sitting down and like I remember this because I actually had to set up a separate camera because I was doing a ragening with Allison Tiemann and Mike Stevenson, Dr. Randomer Cam, right? About the Ghostbusters trailer, right? And we were going to do a ragening, and then we watched it and we were like, we never published it because we were all kind of like, well, we don't really see much of anything to be angry about here.
Yeah.
It's just, it might be lame. I don't know. Like,
it was flat.
There were some points in the trailer that made me giggle. Some points that were playing, riffing off stereotypes that made me giggle. Yeah. Right. The power of Patty compels you, and she slaps her, and then she just keeps slapping her. Right.
Right.
She's like, I'm fine now, and it's like, I'm gonna slap you more. Right. I got a giggle out of that. Right.
It was kind of cute.
Yeah. I just like I was having a hard time getting angry about it. If there was one thing that I was like annoyed about is that they reinvented it rather than rebooted it.
Right. Yeah, that was like disrespectful to the fucking
original.
To the original and to the Jables, I just saw a picture of your tooth. You poor bastard. I'll share that later to Nick. I won't put it up on screen. Well, okay, the Ghostbusters thing is a great example though, because like the trailer was maddening. Partly because like I was caught up in the hype at the time, and I was like, yeah, no, this is gonna be fucking terrible. This is a hill to fucking die, and I blah, 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 blah. And I watched the movie, and I was under because this is like during the Milo era, right? Everybody's all up in arms and like following along and sucking Milo's dick everywhere, and so I was assuming that Milo could do no wrong. And then and so I thought Leslie Jones was going to be like the biggest trash fire on the planet when it came to Ghostbusters. Then I watched the movie. She's the best part of the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Well, you know, like I actually, you know, and part of me was like, well, I've liked what's her name, Melissa McCarthy.
Sure.
I've liked her in other things. I've really liked what's her name, Kate McKinnon.
Yep.
In some of her Saturday Night Live bits, right? The abduction by aliens.
Yes.
You know, was just absolutely stellar.
That single-handedly redeemed Saturday Night Live for me was Kate McKinnon and that character.
Yeah, and so I mean, like I don't have anything against I don't like the gimmick of like let's make it an all-female thing.
Yeah.
And reinvent it from the ground up and pretend that the previous Ghostbusters didn't actually exist, right? I would have really loved it if they managed to like maybe write in some kind of thing where they inherited the business from their uncle or one of their uncles or something like that.
Yeah, right. Bill Murray turns out to be actually Kate McKinnon's uncle.
Yeah,
it's like, and that explains why she is as weird as she is.
Yeah, like that would have made sense, right? Why reinvent it? So, and the all female thing that just always seems like a gimmick to me.
Well, in that respect, though, what do you think about? Because the recent announcement has been that they're rebooting Rush Hour. This is all female Rush Hour. Now, I don't think it was a parody. It might have been, but I kept seeing it on Twitter from time to time, and I kept thinking to myself, like, what, like who in Hollywood is like, we're gonna give a strong feminist reboot to a beloved franchise, and then they just go to Rush Hour.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? The thing was that the problem I think with Ghostbusters fundamentally was that they. Like, Paul Feig was just a lazy fuck. He's like, hey, I've got all of these very talented, like, improv comedic actors, and we're just gonna let them riff, just let them do their thing.
Yeah, we're just gonna rewrite the script. We're gonna do a gender swap. We're gonna do a find and replace, he for she, and then we're just gonna go with it.
Yeah.
No, like Rush Hour, like how do you like? Okay, it was Chris Hudson, right?
Chris Rock. Not Chris Rock.
Chris Hudson.
No, not Chris Hudson.
No, it's
Chris Tucker.
Yeah.
Chris Tucker.
Chris Tucker. That's it. Sorry, Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan, right? How do you replace Jackie Chan?
Jable said Lucy Liu, but no. I would say you could replace
Lucy Liu?
I know. You could replace Jackie Chan with Michelle Yeoh, but she is the same she's about the same age as Jackie Chan, so she's honestly
she's also well above that.
Because Lucy Liu is not a comedic actor.
No.
Michelle Yeoh is not a comedic actor, right? Jackie Chan.
Well, Michelle Yeoh, if nothing else,
comedy.
Michelle Yeoh is well in terms of both like her presence and her acting ability is well above
no acting ability.
A Rush Hour remake.
Yeah, no, Jackie Chan's a terrible actor, but
Jackie Chan had no acting ability, right? He's just a phenomenon, right? He's not a good actor. He's just a guy who does his own stunts and looks like it. He looks like he's broken several bones and, maybe even in his face and had like, he's a phenomenon. He's not.
I've got it. I've got it. This is how we reboot Rush Hour. All right. You get Bai Ling to play Jackie Chan, right? And then you get Medea, Tyler Perry as Medea, to play Chris Tucker's role.
Oh my God.
Or actually, wait, we could go a step further and make it super woke. We could race swap Chris Tucker with Johnny Knoxville, and he can open the film saying, "Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville. Welcome to Rush Hour 4."
Actually, that might be good.
Yeah. I mean,
well, so
oh my God.
Well, I was curious, Jeff. I mean, shall we actually try to do the news tonight?
I got a couple more I gotta get through real quick. Dragon of the West is glad to see Karen again. I'm now convinced that modern feminism is made up of mean girls with daddy issues from well-to-do families. Pinkies up. Well, here's the thing, and I don't know if you've noticed this or not, Karen, but like I've been really paying attention lately because I was big on the anti-SJW stuff for a while. It really feels like a lot of shit has just kind of calmed down. There's still obnoxious, shitty, irritating fucking people from the woke side, but it's all just like dull background noise lately. Do you feel that way too?
No, I actually no, like because I'm more in, sort of in the sphere.
Yeah.
I think that really things are polarizing. Right. So you are seeing more people who are essentially saying, these people are crazy and I'm going to distance myself for sure.
Right.
Right. But when you actually look at the sort of the core SJW, the core, the core of feminism, they're actually screeching louder than ever. And that's not necessarily
fewer people are fewer people are seriously paying attention to them now. I mean, I'd say over the last several years, right? And I remember noticing this around like maybe late 2014, early 2015, that we started seeing like the mainstream starting to pick up reluctantly on how batshit crazy so many of these people really are. And now because of that, it does sort of seem as though like, yeah, they are screeching at a higher volume, but it's because they understand, as most people do, that no one's necessarily as interested in the dog shit they have to say.
Well, what I'm seeing is okay, how do I put it when people say, how did we get here, right? Because you guys are not necessarily paying attention to what's going on in Canada.
Right.
In Canada, we just recently had a guidance come down for family doctors for treating trans youth.
Okay.
Okay. And the issue that I have with this, right, is, at age 13, I wouldn't allow my son to decide what time his curfew is. I wouldn't allow him to make his own nutritional choices.
Sure, sure. It's your responsibility at that point.
Yeah, and I certainly wouldn't allow him to make a life-changing, irreversible decision at age 13, right? But we have guidance coming down from the establishment to family doctors in Canada, and it's to family doctors because the gender clinics are full to overflowing, right? So you can't find a gender specialist. The waiting lists are, there are 10 times as many transgender youth today as there were in 2007.
Wow.
Right? Or people saying that they're transgender youth, right? And you have this phenomenon that was published, a research paper was published in a peer-reviewed journal that is, it's been dubbed rapid onset gender dysphoria, right? And it is primarily a phenomenon that occurs in early teen girls on the autism spectrum.
Okay.
Right? And they have never given any indication to their parents that they have gender dysphoria or that they are the opposite sex. But what happens is they make a friend who is trans, or they join their LGBT
Facebook group,
alliance, or a Facebook group, or they stumble across some videos on YouTube of teens transitioning, right? And they just all of a sudden decide, I'm trans now.
Sure.
Right? And that's the bulk of what has been, and it has all the hallmarks of a social contagion.
And it's like flooding the service that's supposed to be helping people, but it's filled with a fad.
Well, at the same time, right? What the guidance is for family doctors in Canada is to take not a neutral approach to trans kids, but to take an affirmative approach
or
to
even an
them.
aggressive one.
Yes, and to give them puberty blockers.
Right.
Just go ahead and prescribe those if they want them.
Right.
And then also to consider, because these kids want to go through transition, they want to go through puberty at the same time their peers are going through puberty. So let's consider cross-sex hormone therapy at age 13.
Right. Well, and this is something that I was talking a little bit about, usually just on like live streams a couple of years ago, before I stepped out to do my science stuff. And I still really do strongly feel this way. I think like when you're talking about these types of social programs, even when you have something that could be described as like a fad, you know, it's still really important that the social programs over more than anything else display a sense of compassion. But the thing is, and this is a universal truth, we've known this for thousands of years. When kids are growing up, kids are confused.
Yeah.
Hormones are raging. You don't know who the fuck you are. I didn't know who the fuck I was until I was like 20, 25, you know?
Well, I look at it this way, right? You know, like I was a tomboy. I was like a dyed-in-the-wool fucking tomboy when I was growing up. Almost all of my friends. I had 2 female friends. Everybody else I hung out with were guys. I wrestled with them. I climbed trees. I skinned my knee. I hunted salamanders. I freaking went bike riding in ravines and shit like that. I did all of the boy stuff, right?
Sure.
I played with Legos. My Barbies my Barbies that I inherited from my sisters, not that my parents bought for me, sat untouched until I got to an age where I could make them do perverted things, but with each other. But I was like a quintessential tomboy, right? And then I grew. I went through puberty. I ended up being mostly heterosexual. I'm bisexual in terms of, you know, I like having sex with whoever, right, if I'm attracted to them, but I want to have my relationships with men. There's reasons for that. We can get into that later if you want.
I'll be honest with you.
But, you know, like, and I had kids. I was a mother. And I raised 2 stepsons as well as 3 kids. You know, like I am not uncomfortable in my body. I feel like even as a 48-year-old woman, I feel like, you know, I'm sexy as a woman, at least sexy to my partner, right?
Oh,
so,
I mean, yeah, of course.
You know, and I enjoy all of the aspects of being female. Right, I wouldn't want to be male, but if somebody had approached me when I was 5 years old because I played with Legos and Nerf rockets and water guns and chased salamanders rather than you know, wanting, you know, Barbie dolls and other things, doll houses and stuff like that, right? If they had approached me and said, "Do you ever wonder if you're actually really a boy?" Right? I don't like. What would have happened?
Yeah.
What decisions might I have made that I might have ended up regretting?
Yeah.
Or
it's
not reversible.
And a lot. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. What is not reversible specifically? I wanted to point a couple of these out. Hannah in the chat says, I know for a long time that my daughter was never meant to be my son. On that note, when she came to me at 13 saying she wanted to be a girl, I said, fine, but no drugs or transitioning until you're 18. I want her to go through the majority of her growth process, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. You are a fucking good mother. You're a good mother because you're being supportive, but also allowing for her to grow however she's going to grow. So good on you. That's awesome.
That's exactly right. And what I think that, you know, and here's the thing, right? Because like I don't like TERFs, right?
No.
I generally like them. But one of the things that they have said particularly over this rapid onset gender dysphoria, is that it's based on stereotypes. It's not based on gender identity. It's based on gender stereotypes.
Right.
If you play with Legos and you play with Meccano and you play with blocks and dinky cars and all of that as a girl, right, then you are stereotypically a boy. So you're not a tomboy, you're just a boy, right? And if you like to, you know, wear a tutu or, you know, put on your mom's makeup or something like that, and you're a boy, well, then you're not actually just a slightly effeminate boy. You're a girl, right? and it's all based on stereotypes. It's not based necessarily on how somebody identifies. And I think that what's happening right now, and this is kind of the paradox of the gender equality paradox, is what they call it in Scandinavia, right? That as the economic and political spheres flatten out, right? In terms of equality and opportunity and all of that between men and women, what we see are increasing adherence to stereotypes. Like when you actually go and look at how toys were marketed in the 1950s in the Sears catalog, things were not as gendered in terms of marketing as they are now. What you're seeing is an increase in the differences, the expressed differences and the expressing differences between men and women, as all of the pressures of society flatten out, as they all kind of are melting away, right? We're actually seeing women becoming more female typical and men becoming more male typical, and that kind of polarizing in a way that we have not seen before, that doesn't even exist in places like Iran and India.
Right.
It's not quite that distinct, right? In temperament and personality and preference and all of that.
It's a cost. I mean, I think it's a cost of freedom, because I mean, anybody who
what I'm trying to get at is that maybe because we're seeing this more extreme bifurcation in what is perceived as female and what is perceived as male, right, compared to what used to be like 50 years ago, 100 years ago, whatever, you were looking at people who were much more, men and women who were much more similar to each other than they are now.
Well,
you're seeing now, you can't be a masculine woman, you can't be a feminine man, you can only be a man.
You can with me.
Yeah, Jeff takes all comers as long as they come.
I know he does. I've talked to him before.
But no, I mean, it was funny because, like, well, my own daughter, right? I mean, she's actually been on the show a few times. And she, she got a little confused for a while because she noticed that she liked a lot of shit that boys like, and she liked boy stuff. And then, unfortunately, somebody told her, well, that means you're gender fluid. And I remember she called me up, and she's like, Dad, I think I'm gender fluid. I'm like, why? And she's like, well, because I like boy stuff and girl stuff. I'm like, all right, well, we'll talk about this later, kid. And then when I asked her about it, I'm like, so what is the boy stuff you like? And she listed things like, she likes like playing with the toys that she has, which I gave her. It's like a lot of X-Men figures and shit. And and she likes all this stuff. I'm like, Quinn, listen. That's not boy or girl stuff. That's just Quinn stuff. That's just stuff you are into. Like, if you feel a certain way when you get a bit older, go ahead and bring that up. But in the meantime, that's like what you like, and don't let anybody tell you it's not for you.
That's exactly what Hrothgar the Dane was saying. The alienated will gravitate to the prevalent mentality. They just want to belong. They should be told that they don't have to belong. Just to belong, just be you. I fucking agree, man. Real quick.
All right, you finish those. And,
yeah.
Because I got
real quick.
We got a great
she says we will be holding a Texas Hold'em game after the show and music chat on the Discord server via Tabletop Simulator. So please join us if you're interested in playing. The room name and password will be posted in #music text chat room, and we hope to see you there. Sora Dove says, hey Jeff, send me a message on Facebook so we can hang out some more. Got a good job, some more money for drinking. Love watching you guys. Great way to end the work week. I hope you and your boy hang out with me tomorrow for the meetup. Jabel says, I have nothing but love for Karen. I hope someday I can sit and have a beer with her. Also, I'd like to cross-dress because skirts and dresses are comfy as fuck, but I'm still a dude. And we're all
there you go. Like, honestly.
It's hard to argue with. It's really hard to argue with.
It is. Like, my mom taught me how to butter toast. My dad taught me how to butter floor tiles. And... I can do both. And it's like, and that doesn't make me not a woman. So, and it doesn't make me gender fluid. It might make me a little bit queer, like I took Jordan Peterson's personality test.
Everybody's a little gay.
He said, okay, I took it at his behest, right? and this was long before he came out publicly against Bill C-16, right? He contacted me about 6 months before that and asked to, have a conversation, and we did. And then he said, "Do you want to take the test?" Right? And he found that, among other things, I had a highly masculinized temperament on certain areas, but also that I was. He literally, the email, he listed everything out, and then he left like 18 freaking spaces, and then way at the bottom, he said low in conscientiousness.
Oh, sorry. I'm not a huge Peterson fan these days. No, I remember when he was putting out his personality tests. So I'm like, yay, the Jordan Peterson BuzzFeed quiz has finally arrived.
It's much more in depth than that. It's actually it's based on the Big Five. It's pretty much it's compatible with.
I'll be honest with you, Karen. I'll be honest with you. It's like. Like I'm like I said, I'm not a big fan of Jordan Peterson.
You don't have to be.
No, and most of that is more along the whole like Dave Rubin style sort of like I can't get enough media line. But I really enjoyed. I remember really fucking enjoying a lot of his lectures, even the ones I didn't agree with. I'm like, that's a really well thought out point. And I think with a lot of people, especially myself included, the antipathy towards Jordan Peterson comes more from the cult-like following, which is like, and you could probably speak to this. It does seem to come from like, there's a lot of disaffected young men who never had fathers to give them that basic bitch dad advice that Peterson offers with flowery language.
Yeah, well, I mean, if he's a basic bitch dad, that shouldn't be a problem, right? Like, so, I do think that there are people who defend him sort of unquestioningly, right? And I have never done that. Like one of my most popular videos is me taking him to task on something that he said, right?
Oh yeah, no, I don't listen. Like the last adjective I would ever attach to Karen Straughan would be apologist.
Yeah, no, I don't
apologize.
Oh, I do apologize when I get something wrong. What I want to say here is that I think when I said earlier that I can't organize a trip to the toilet if there's more than two people involved, right?
I'm terrified at the notion of why one would have to.
Yeah,
well, unless there's some cocaine involved or something.
Apparently, they need to go in pairs. Apparently, I don't know because
they all watched it and they keep thinking that Pennywise is gonna pop up out of the drain.
I don't freaking know, but I have always been a lone wolf, and I have always told everybody, when I started with at A Voice for Men on their Thursday night radio show, way back in the day, right? The producer essentially almost muted me because I was talking about something that was not approved of.
Oh.
Yeah. And
hang on. I'm hesitant to ask, but let me ask this. Was that producer the one who I am thinking of?
I don't know. I don't know who you're thinking of.
He's got a really big, he's got a fan club for
the
invisible dude in the sky.
Oh, well, okay. What I was talking about was I was comparing feminism to religion. Okay. And and the previous week when I had said something like that feminism is religious thinking, a bunch of people, and this might have been coincidence, but a bunch of people just dropped off the podcast. They just the listeners we just lost a bunch of listeners all at once.
Right.
When I started comparing feminism to a religious cult, right? And so then I started talking about it again, and I started also talking about communism. And they were like, yeah, we need to mute her if she doesn't shut up. And I found out afterwards, they didn't end up muting me, but I found out afterwards that they were talking about that they were going to mute my mic. And I freaking went to Paul Elam, right, who owns the website and owned the channel. And I said, if I'm not allowed to say whatever the fuck I want, you can kiss my ass goodbye.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he said, you're right. That was wrong. You have carte blanche to say whatever you want. All we have to do is say the opinions of everyone on this podcast are not necessarily the opinions of A Voice for Men, whatever, right?
Sure.
Like you should be able to say whatever you want. But I was like ready to sever ties with them right there. I have been ready to sever ties with Honey Badger Brigade a couple of times.
Well, I mean,
it's just over internal things. It's just over internal things, and I'm like, I cannot. I will not fucking toe anybody else's line. I will not.
That's why we love you.
Let's actually, and let's actually like use this as a moment. We're gonna like step back to the trans issue just as a moment to pivot because we do have some news.
Oh God. We're
yeah.
Okay. All right.
and I think like, you know, with the question of trans issues, all of that, I think it's a good pivot if I can find my mouse cursor between these four screens. Jesus Christ. There it is. We do have we got some news. We got some news here. Got some real news. And we're gonna start out with Chelsea Manning. Chelsea Manning was arrested and thrown back in the clink after refusing to testify in the secret WikiLeaks case. Now, if we look down at that, go back up to that photo. That's a really aggressive mullet going on. I'll start off by saying that. Very aggressive mullet.
That mullet could be arrested for.
You guys both have more feminine hair than.
Oh, you have no idea, honey.
Oh, I know. Dude.
There we go. Yeah, and yours is much more tameable than mine. You wonder why I have my hair short. Yeah, I can show you pictures of my sons, and that'll show you why I have my hair short.
Everyone is my son because once my hair touched my shoulders, I became Jesus. So you know. Sure. But yeah, so to get into this, Chelsea Manning, the former U.S. Army analyst and whistleblower who leaked troves of classified material to WikiLeaks in 2010. And I'm going to say my point on this. Good on you for doing that. But I'm going to have to agree with Bernie Sanders here in saying that broke the law needs to be put on trial for what he did. Well, I'll say. Was arrested again on Friday after she reportedly refused to testify in front of a Virginia grand jury about her interactions with WikiLeaks and its founder, Julian Assange. I gotta say, fucking, if snitches get stitches, then let Chelsea Manning glide gracefully into the future. I found you in contempt, Judge Claude Hilton told Manning at the public ruling. Said he's going to be jailed until, quote, either until you purge yourself or the end of the life of the grand jury. Well, shit. Manning said in a statement on Twitter that she was summoned to appear before a secret grand jury on Wednesday. In response to each question, she said she answered, quote, I object to the question and refuse to answer on the grounds that the question is in violation of my First, Fourth, and Sixth Amendment rights and other statutory rights.
Not Fifth?
I was kind of curious about that.
Yeah,
I was curious about that
too.
Well, let's consider it though, because we've already got Manning, who has already been convicted of a thing and then pardoned by the president, right?
Yeah.
So there's no further incrimination that can be done in regards to what happened back in 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, but all of these substantive questions pertain to my disclosures of information to the public in 2010, answers I provided in the extensive testimony during my court-martial in 2013. Her statement continued. In January, WikiLeaks alleged that federal prosecutors were trying to work to get witnesses to testify against Assange in secret criminal proceedings. Gotta love secret criminal proceedings. That's not what this fucking justice system was set up for, being conducted by the Trump administration. Before the ruling, Manning told reporters, "I don't believe in the grand jury process. I don't believe in the secrecy of this." Manning's lawyer, Moira Meltzer-Cohen, called the arrest a, quote, "an act of tremendous cruelty," end quote, according to the Post. So, where do we sit with Chelsea Manning? I mean, kind of.
I don't think her transness has anything to do with this.
No.
It was just that was just a cheap and easy.
Oh, it was like a segue.
Yeah.
That's all that was. Trans people.
No. Although I do have to wonder, though. I mean, it is a curious thing because some things that I have read say that Bradley Manning, when she was Bradley, while in the service, was a what we call trash bag soldier, somebody who during basic training, and I'm saying this is somebody who is I'm a supporter of WikiLeaks and Julian Assange. I like transparency.
Yeah.
But I have heard it said that Bradley Manning in the military was the kind of person who would sell out fellow soldiers, would do anything to get out of doing duty, would consistently say, "I can't do this." Now, if stuck in a military intel role in theater in Iraq, for instance, I could see somebody who maybe was not actually fully fit for military service. And I say this as somebody who was recruited in 2003, and they were like, "Hey, how many documents can we forge to get you into the military?"
Yeah.
I got to wonder if maybe Manning wasn't fundamentally at the beginning somebody who was not fit for military service in certain ways, but who seemed to only really discover their trans nature, their identity as Chelsea, while in prison.
Huh. I don't know. I can't speculate on that. I really can't. I think that honestly, if you're being called to testify, you should testify.
But if it's a secret grand jury, though, like this isn't a public trial.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the part of the thing that's like really sketchy. And the thing that really sketches me out about this is so everything these days, at least in America, is completely ideologically driven. Everything is fucking bananas down here right now. Fucking crazy. So when you have to start looking at how these things are being played out, Julian Assange has played into and very much in certain ways with some of the leaks that WikiLeaks has leaked out been a benefit to the Trump administration. Yet you have Chelsea Manning now being thrown in jail because the Trump administration wants to have effectively secret hearings and getting people to testify in a non-public trial. And you have to start wondering, like, what exactly the fuck is going on with this? What is really the point behind this? Why is it now? Why is it now we're having secret hearings about WikiLeaks? And I'm not a conspiracy-minded guy. You guys know I'm not. But why now? And the only thing I can think is, like, there's just something extra going on, especially when it comes to things like, what's his fucking name? The dude who just testified in front of,
Manafort?
Not Manafort. Was it Cohen?
Cohen, yeah.
With Cohen. I have to assume that there's like more shit going on that we just don't understand. And if Chelsea takes a firm stand and says this is the position that I'm at, and the most egregious offense that they have is I'm not going to fucking talk. Some judge saying they're gonna jail her until the end of time. That's fucked up to me. I don't know, man.
I mean, it definitely is a fucked up situation. And this is a weird thing, too, because, like, so after Obama left office, we got a whole bunch of reports about how drone strikes, which killed civilians, were, like, a commonplace thing. Like, Obama, the savior of the progressive movement.
Yeah. No, and he essentially declared that if you're over 15 and male, you're automatically a combatant, and
he took the Bush doctrine and doubled down on it, and that was part of what ended up sending Manning to prison in the first place. Now, I do still actually stand up and agree that while the leaks which Manning provided everyone, the ability for us to understand what was going on a deeper level, were invaluable, and that honestly the sacrifice, the self-sacrifice that came along with doing so, despite the fact that, like, you know, reports do say that Manning was perhaps looking for some spotlight in the course of such, the end result of it was that we understood more about what was going on with this endless war that we're meant to prosecute. And then to find that even after being pardoned, now Manning's being called into secret tribunals, effectively, like secret grand jury tribunals, and refuses to testify and says, no, I'm not giving this shit up. I'm not giving you what you want. Like, I find Manning to be a bit of a showboater. If you follow her on Twitter, it's hard to parse out the English language from the garbage emojis. You know, it's kind of...
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know enough about her or this to really comment on it. I just think that, you know, I think that a secret grand jury is there to protect the individuals involved, because sometimes the individuals involved have done nothing wrong, but they may be perceived to have done something wrong.
Okay.
Right?
I find, here's an interesting question, and I don't know the answer, so I'll actually look into it myself. And if any of you were so interested, I would be interested to see the number of secret or otherwise grand juries pulled in to examine Eric Prince, or
Who's
what
Eric Prince?
remains. Eric Prince is the founder of Blackwater, which was then Z, which is now something else.
Yeah.
I would like to see the comparisons of actual grand juries and secret grand juries, which have been pulled together to examine the actions of private mercenary firms who don't operate according to the rules of law, rules of war.
That's Geneva Convention, yeah.
Geneva Convention, versus those which have been aimed at WikiLeaks, Chelsea Manning, and the like. Because the truth is like, as fucked up as all of these people might be, let's take the worst of it. Let's assume the worst. Let's assume Chelsea Manning is a transgender looking for attention. Let's assume that Julian Assange is a date rapist, right? Ooh. With all of that, let's take all of that for granted, and let's ask ourselves that in the course of all of the deliberations over that shit, is what they gave us to chew on, the leaks, the raw data and information about dirty fucking actions by governments and corporations, is that worth discarding simply because we don't like the version of people that is being presented to us in these individuals?
Of course not. It's not. You don't discard anything. You don't discard anything just because the person who tells you it is unpalatable. I mean, like, look at somebody like Count Dankula, right? Okay, you know, he did something that was objectionable to some people, right? He did it in preparation for an audience of one. He was essentially, he uploaded it and he was going to watch it with his girlfriend and rile her up, right? When he had 8 subscribers on his channel. 8. Yeah. Not 1,000, not 800,000, 8
Single digits. Single
digit subscriber count on his channel, right? And then somebody posts it to Reddit, it goes viral, and then he's on the plane to Iceland, and his girlfriend phones him when he gets off the plane, and she's like, "Why are the press at the door?" Right? Because she had no idea what was going on, and then he's arrested and he's convicted of like a violation of the Offensive Communications Act or something like that.
Hurt Fifis Act.
Yeah, Hurt Fifis Act. Mm-hmm. And so he's literally sitting and convicted, no contact, nothing, right? So you're looking at somebody like that, and you have to realize that, you know, if Chelsea Manning is taking a stand, if she is taking a genuine stand, a sincere stand, right, and saying, I'm not going to cooperate with this because I feel it is against my principles, I am 100% behind her on that.
Sure.
Because I feel that this is persecution, because I feel that this is a violation of constitutional values, right?
Sure.
Okay. Just the way Count Dankula said, I'm not going to pay your fine.
Yeah.
I'm going to pay your fine, and you can cart me off to jail, and I'm still not going to pay it because I feel like the law itself is wrong, right? And if that's the case with Chelsea Manning, and I believe that is 100% the case with Count Dankula, I believe he is 100% sincere in that he believes that the law that saw him convicted is wrong on principle, right? This is not him grandstanding. This is not him trying to make a, this is him saying, I'm willing to go to jail for this. I'm willing to go to prison for this because I believe that the law itself is wrong. And he said over and over and over again, I don't regret what I did.
Nor should he.
I don't regret what I did because I don't think I did anything wrong, right? I don't think I did anything immoral. And the fact that I was convicted of a crime for doing it just might sound the alarm for the rest of Britain, right? And the fact that maybe I'm going to go to prison for it might sound the alarm for the rest of Britain because this law needs to be struck down.
Absolutely.
Government censorship is not okay.
Well, with that though, I mean, and this is one of the things that like I've come to respect Chelsea Manning for, and also have, it seems, a somewhat strong disagreement with the supporters of Chelsea on. While in the military, while an intel analyst for the military, Bradley Manning, right, did in fact, despite the societal value of it, did violate UCMJ. There is like the conviction in that sense is just and valid. The exoneration of such, the pardoning of Chelsea Manning, also valid in my feels, as it was, because I feel and I believe that the information provided by Manning in terms of what was going on was culturally essential in terms of our understanding of the war that we were going after, we were prosecuting there. Very valid.
You have to have, like, there's a thing called jury nullification, right?
Oh, we got that. I come from New Hampshire. We have loads of it.
Yeah, no, and so essentially you can as a juror, you can say, well, I believe that the law itself is wrong, right? And the law itself should not be upheld.
Not in court-martial,
So I'm going to nullify.
Not in court-martial.
Okay, yeah, not in court-martial, no, yeah. But these are things, right? I believe the law itself is unjust, and therefore I will not help somebody enforce this law. I will not help the system enforce this law. There is also a way of saying, through nullification, I believe that this is an exception case, that the situation was so egregious that even though all of the aspects of the crime in question are proven, right? And even though the law itself is just in this particular case, in these particular circumstances, I disagree, right? Those are ways that juries can essentially say, you know what, the law in this particular case, I just don't think it applies, right? And I think that really this is one of the most amazing things about and it's dangerous, but it's also a benefit. It's a double-edged sword, right? That you can have a jury of your peers say, I'm going to ignore the law because of a higher sense of justice, right? And so with Chelsea Manning, yes, the Uniform Code of Military Justice, right? There is no jury nullification there. She was convicted. She was pardoned. Her conviction was just. Her pardoning was just, right? And if I don't know enough about her to say that I think her motives are pure in this instance.
Well, it's a funny thing though, because given like the severity and depth of the raw information that was provided and what it provided those who used it to make very solid points, like we could even take a worst case scenario and say that Chelsea Manning was, just like when imprisoned on the court-martial charge, that the whole notion of transitioning genders was an effort to get out of that, or perhaps even that all of this was just an effort to build sympathy and public attention, because it's been reported that that Bradley Manning really, really tried to shop the materials around. Now, even if that's the case, like, let's take the worst case scenario of Bradley/Chelsea Manning here and say that, okay, it was all for fame, it was all to be a whistleblower. That still doesn't really matter, because what was provided to us, the public, which was kept secret from us beforehand by those in charge, was wholly and entirely worth the attention that we paid to it. Like, regardless of the motivations, the information itself, the report itself, was essential to the public making an informed decision about the ongoings of its national policy, of its wartime policy. I think it's worth something.
I think so too. And like, honestly, I don't like the whole, trying to bring her trans status into this, because I don't think it's
relevant.
It's particularly like maybe it played a role in Obama's willingness to pardon her.
I would say, though, even if that was the case, I would stand by a pardon regardless, because
yeah, I think Julian Assange should like not be pursued on the charges, the date rape charges and all of that crap.
Yeah, the date rape charges that the state decided on their own to pursue, even after the complainant said no.
I just chopped a giant chunk out of my desk.
You chopped?
You should not do that. Speaking of chopping giant chunks out of things, Paul Manafort was convicted today.
Hang on.
Trying to do the news thing, but okay.
Hang on. Andrew, the Rose artist, says, Karen, you were spot on. I see this kind of crap in the fine arts community. Indeed. Dragon of the West says, my sister stopped playing with Barbies at age 4 and grew to heterosexual women in a happy relationship. Hell, one of the favorite TV characters is Bobby Draper, a badass Martian Marine who is also easy on the eyes. Anime Moon says, just got home from the final Alita Battle Angel showing in my area. The box office flunky tried to sell us a Captain Marvel. My wife told them to take that bullshit and shove it after them. Use the Stallions World Twitter account to push the propaganda. Fuck you! We have enough time for one more news article before we get into these silly videos. Which one do you want to do? I was thinking the Nickelback one.
You know what? I've done the last two.
Nickelback? No, yeah, Nickelback.
I guess we have to.
Yep. This is what we got to do. Congressman debating Nickelback on the House floor. I can't believe I chopped my fucking desk, motherfucker.
Why would you do that, Jeff?
There's still an arrow that's stuck in the fucking wall of the garage over there because I just randomly fired it into the... I do shit sometimes. You can't control me. All right, anyway.
Jeff makes very interesting decisions at very interesting times.
Get yourself a wet saw.
I should. Congressman...
It's so much trouble to set up that you won't actually... feel compelled to use it in times of stress.
I should. I honestly probably should.
You'll be like, oh, I want to hit something with a tool, but all I have is this wet saw, and it takes like a fucking, 20 minutes to set up.
Show on cam. Yeah. Let me see if I can actually get a good shot of like this.
Here we go.
Took out of my desk.
It's 2.0. Oh, that is so lame.
It was just on the side. I was trying to bury it into...
I so expected something, like, I expected a nice big chunk of your desk was gone. And instead we get
It's only
that.
a hatchet. Come on, man. And can I?
And people say I'm compulsive and like, and prone to like emotional outbursts and stuff. So.
Yeah.
Just well.
Linger on that while you look at the hole in your wall, the chip on your desk.
Congressmen debate Nickelback on the House floor. Nickelback is back, baby, and by back I mean in stereo gum headlines specifically. Last month, Slipknot reignited their beef with Nickelback lead singer Chad Kroeger. Today, they were mentioned on the House floor. The House hearing revolved around H.R. 1, the House Democrats' election reform bill aimed at expanding voting rights and eliminating the influence of money in politics. But at some point, the topic of debate switched to Nickelback. In 2016, when the census asked for a comment on this, 77,000 people did comment and only 4 wanted to keep this provision. That's probably about the percent of people who think Nickelback is their favorite band in this country. It's pretty low, said Democratic Representative Mark Pocon.
Listen, I mean, if you needed another example of how out of touch Democrats really are, I would say him thinking that there's actually 4% of the country that lists Nickelback as their favorite band. Yeah, it's time to vote the bums out,
So let's make sure we draw the party lines very distinctly. It was a Democrat who was like, nobody listens to Nickelback. But then here we got, why would you criticize one of the greatest bands of the 90s? I know my colleague from Wisconsin didn't mean to offend the many thousands upon thousands of Nickelback fans, Republican Representative Rodney Davis responded.
Oh my God.
I actually do have a Nickelback song on my running playlist that I listen to on a regular basis, and was ridiculed by that when I posted my playlist one time, and I know in some of this chamber, even up on the dais, are laughing about that. What the fuck?
God. This is like Nickelback is horrible is just a meme. It's just a fucking meme.
No, it's the truth too.
Oh no,
it's bad. It's not a good. It's not a good band.
They're not the worst. They're not the worst ever. I'm sorry, they're not. They're like consistently mediocre.
You're a proud Canadian nationalist, desperately hoping that everyone will recognize how bad Imagine Dragons is, aren't you?
What?
Yeah.
I don't even fucking know what you're talking about. All I'm saying is Nickelback. If I was stuck in an elevator, right, between floors for half an hour and I had to listen to Nickelback, I would not slit my wrists. That's all I'm saying. There are bands out there where I would slit my wrist.
Which one? Name them.
AC/DC.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Continue.
Okay, AC/DC, who's Judas Priest.
Oh, Judas Priest. Fuck yeah, man.
White Snake.
White Snake is good. I like White Snake.
No. Jeff. Karen is listing the bands that she would slit her wrists if she was forced to listen to them in an elevator.
Oh, I'm going to go take a break then. All right.
Yeah, for half an hour, if I had to listen to these bands for half an hour. Now, okay.
Continue. No, I'm really curious. Because, I mean, I'm happy to destroy your reputation with this.
If I was stuck in an elevator for half an hour, who would I want to listen to? Oh, God.
Enya.
Rage Against the Machine?
An SJW band? How dare you, Karen?
Yeah.
Don't you understand?
Yeah, they're like totally fucking communist, and I'm just like, yeah, but their freaking instrumentation is brilliant, and their vocals are brilliant. Okay, so them and Offspring. Offspring I could listen to for half an hour solid.
Goddamn. I mean, well, here's a question though. Could you listen to what's that Offspring song? Chances Born, Nothing's Free.
Oh, the kids are not all right?
Yeah, the kids. Could you listen to that one song for a half an hour?
Yes.
Well, okay. We got a lot of disappoint in the chat here.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Hayden White is like AC/DC, really? Y2KNW, I am totally disappointed, Karen.
The screamy voice. I cannot stand the screamy voice.
Hang on, wait. Hang on. So you say you can't stand the screamy voice, but you want Rage Against the Machine.
Rage Against the Machine is not screamy.
It's all screamy. It's pure screamy.
No.
Can I just talk about female oppression for a minute here?
Yes.
My wife decided that she was going to invest in these new pants. These new pants that just came out. They look like business casual slacks, but they're made with like yoga pant material. And she's been doing like power squats for the past 6 months. So every time I fucking walk by, like my whole hormonal balance just goes completely out of fucking whack. And I'm like, I get fucking crazy. She has this fucking voodoo magic over me, and it's not okay, and I'm really upset.
Is this an ad?
No.
It should be.
It should be.
Like, are you literally shilling for a company that makes pants?
Will you stop? Don't pull them down. Get the fuck. I'm trying to concentrate.
His wife's been hitting the squats pretty hard. So
fuck out. Do I have anything I can throw?
You have a hatchet there.
I would throw my brand new book, I, Pony by Vermin Supreme.
Yeah.
But I will not throw this because actually I really like it. It's a good book. I've been reading it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we really need an Audible link, don't we?
We do. We honestly really do. Let's catch up real quick. One Canuck says, better than an arrow through the wall. Indeed. Jose Antonio, one thing about Jordan B. Peterson, Jesus and Iron Maiden. I love the guys and their work. I have difficulties getting along the fan club, though. Having Karen tonight is awesome. And one more time, the Saints scores! Love you guys and Karen. Thanks for one more great show. You're very welcome. We're happy Karen's here.
I appreciate it, and I do agree that the Jordan Peterson fanboys can be very knee-jerky.
They can. I ended a friendship with somebody that I actually really liked because he was so fucking obnoxious with his love for Jordan Peterson that I couldn't handle it, and I told him.
I know who that is.
You know exactly who it is. He was on the show. Yep. I don't want to like call him out or anything because I still like the dude, but I had to be honest with him. I'm like, dude, I cannot handle you sucking this dude's dick literally every fucking day. Like, sure, he has some good points here and there.
Know exactly who it is.
But I can't fucking handle this.
I actually adore Jordan Peterson, right? Okay, sure. I do. I really love him. And part of that is because I knew him before he kind of hit it big, right?
Right, before C16.
Dave Peterson's wife.
Well, that's the worst thing that ever happened to Jordan Peterson was Dave Rubin. That is the worst thing that ever happened to Jordan Peterson.
Whatever. It doesn't even matter, right? But I knew him. I followed him since 2011.
Okay.
Right. And I didn't follow his channel. Right, I followed his appearances on things like The Agenda with Steve Paikin.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and I was just like, and so I had my eye on him, and I was watching him. Anytime that he was on something that I was just like, oh, it's Jordan Peterson, right? That was back when he was like fat, when he was overweight, right?
Before his daughter with her wingnut pseudoscience diet told him to just eat meat.
Yeah, well, he was overweight, and now he's not. But
yeah.
But essentially, like I've been following his work since like ages and ages, years before he even reached out to me, right? And then I had a chat with him and, over the course of an hour or so. And I was like, okay, well, that was about maybe 6 months before he came out with the video. And he was feeling me out, what kind of blowback do you get? Have you been threatened? Have you blah, 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 blah. Right. And I was like, no, it's all good. Like, I'm fine. Right. And I think that he was actually like essentially testing the the situation, right? Like asking somebody, okay, if I do something like, what I'm hoping, what I'm thinking of doing, am I going to be completely destroyed, completely obliterated by it? And I was just like, no.
Really? That's disappointing. That's genuinely disappointing, because that kind of does take away from the bold, I will stand on my principles no matter what aesthetic.
It's because he hit way more fucking flack than I ever did.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, he hit flack, but also the man's a fucking millionaire simply because he had one viral video that went out with him telling some transgender, no, I'm not going to call you bun self. And honestly, like, you know what? Good on him for saying that. Yeah. But at the same time, like, is that worth giving a Catholic dominionist a multi-million-dollar fucking career over?
I don't think that in itself is worth that, but I do think that was one of that, because I think he could have, if he had not said that, he could have just kept on going along and making good money, right? He wouldn't have made like millions and millions of dollars. He wouldn't have been a celebrity.
He wouldn't have been Dave Rubin's fucking master.
Okay, but he would have been safe in his tenure. He would have been safe in his very good income.
Sure.
Right? In his very respectable career. All of that. And maybe, if he hadn't handled it the way he did, right? If he had handled it differently, when the heat came down on him, he would have crashed and burned. He would not have been where he is, right? And this is really the thing, right? Because you can't predict things 100%. And this is one of the things too, right? I was just talking with some of my fellow colleagues at the Honey Badgers, right? There's some of them that have had multiple Reddit accounts deleted, right? Sure, or banned, right? Some of them who have had multiple Twitter accounts banned, right? Some of them who have had community strikes on their videos, right? All of that stuff. I've never had any of that.
Right.
I've never had any of that. And in my opinion, it's not because of what I say or even how I say it. It's how I respond to people who object to it.
Okay.
Right? And I'm just like, okay, fair enough. Okay, let's have a discussion, whatever. Like, I'll go back and forth with you in the comments, blah, blah, blah. Right? So the only trouble that I have ever had was very, very quickly after I started my channel. It was like within a few months, right? I got 3 copyright strikes from 2 individuals on the same day within like a half an hour of each other. Mm. And I know they were the same people, the same person, because I entered their email addresses to log in as if I was them. And both of them were started on the same day. Both of those email addresses were opened on the same day.
Okay.
Right? The exact same fucking day. Right? 2 years before. Right? So it's the same person. That's not a coincidence. Right? And I just came out and I said, yeah, you want my fucking personal details? I'll see you in court. Fuck you. I made a video. Fuck you. I'll sue YouTube. Right? Sure. Maybe YouTube will sue you. But either way, I'll see you in court. And then they just withdrew their claims. Right? And that's the only problem I've had. I've never been protested.
That's good.
I've never had anybody pull a fire alarm on me. I've never been attacked. I'd be
disappointed.
I've never been accosted in the street. I get recognized all the time. This is the hilarious thing. I get recognized all the time, right? Coming out of the KFC and some guy's going and he's like, "Are you Karen Straughan?" Right? Going out of my sitting in my car outside the convenience store, and a guy looks at me and is like, "Are you Karen Straughan?" Right? Like, just, I get recognized all the time. Nobody ever, the only people who ever approach me, selfie with you, right? Can I talk to you for a bit and tell you how much I appreciate what you're doing? Like, it's insane, right? And I think it's because of, like, I don't know, there is some sweet spot that I hit that other people don't, and that's a sweet spot that Jordan Peterson hit, right? Because he could have been absolutely destroyed. He could still be drawn up, like pulled up in front of the Human Rights Tribunal, or what they call social justice.
I'll say this, Karen. I'll say this. One thing I find really funny about this whole culture war shit, especially where Peterson and other people fall in it, right? Mm-hmm. Is that we consistently get people making comparisons to Hitchens, right? Except we've got a Catholic dominionist, right, who has basically taken his position, and he's trying to like soft shoe his religious bullshit into his lessons for the disaffected youth who desperately need someone to tell them to clean their room, apparently. And then we get the same shit. I mean, be it Milo, Sargon, doesn't matter. We get people saying, "Oh, you could be the next Hitchens," except no. Because Hitchens was an unapologetic atheist, mm-hmm. and was for most of his time an unapologetic Trotskyist. Meanwhile, we have YouTube channels blowing up with their shit about Trotskyist entryism in the British Parliament is just completely unabashed. No, we need to come to a point, honestly, where we, in this culture war, where we find charlatans, a la Dave Rubin, a la fucking Ben Shapiro, a la the Young Turks, a la Sean fucking King, where, like, you know, this whole thing used to be about we stand against dumb ideas and dumb people who are promoting them, and now it's gotten to a point where Jordan Peterson is a fucking hero promoting dumb shit Catholic notions about we need to structure society in this way because my religion makes me feel good. Well, to such a point though. No, I'll finish here. To such a point though, where people openly, actively, and enthusiastically support really bad ideas from fucking dog shit thinkers simply because it opposes that which they oppose themselves so fundamentally they can't let go of it.
I don't think that he's actually promoting Catholicism because he believes in God. Okay. And I don't think that he's essentially, like, here's the thing, right? Dumb people, dumb ideas, right?
Sure.
Okay. Dumb people cannot process complex ideas.
Hence Twitter.
Okay. I'm just saying this. Right? And I'm not saying that, like, I'm like the pinnacle of freaking intelligence and all of that stuff, right? Okay, but I take a big picture look at primarily at the dynamics between men and women in society, right? And how society perceives men and women. And that involves a nuanced look at both the biological and the socialization aspect of things, okay? Sure. Right? And I am capable of saying that there is no, like, okay, let me just use this as an example, right? Okay, feminists say only about 2% of rape accusations are false.
Right.
Okay. And my response to that is, even if that 2% was based in data, which it is not, right? The number itself is between 6 and 10%. Okay. But even if it was based in data, right? You can't say that that's going to be the case tomorrow.
You can't even say that that's an acceptable amount either. Like an acceptable amount is 0.
Just let me explain.
Oh, sure.
Let me explain through this analogy what nuance is, right?
Sure.
Okay, so we have. Let's say we take it for granted. Okay, we take it, for the sake of argument, that 2% today, 2% of accusations made to the police are false, right? Well, what happens when the rate of rape goes down? What happens when we have the equivalent of a Salem witch hunt, right? And the rate of false accusations go up, or like the actual rate, not the rate relative to the rate of genuine accusations or reports made to police, but just the rate itself on its own, right? Because this is a variable that is it is a variable, right, in itself. Right, the number of false accusations that are going to be made are going to be variable on based on a number of environmental factors, right? Okay, and then on top of that, it's measured against another variable that is also variable, right? Which is the rate of rape and the rate of report, the report rate, right? So you have three variables that are interacting right now. You have the rate, the prevalence of rape, the number of the percentage of people who are raped who report it to police, and then you have the percentage of people. So you have 3 fucking variables at work here, right? How can you say that the false rape rate as a percentage of the number of reports to police is ever going to be a static number? Is ever going to be fixable at a static number? No, because all of these rates are going up and down, right? And then you look at it, well, when you look at the false rape rate, that is just the percentage in a given year with a given demographic in a given time and place, right, that have been demonstrated to be false to a criminal court standard.
Well, okay.
Right? 6% of the reports resulted in conviction, right? Okay, does that mean the other 80% go back into the big bucket of rapes that actually happened? No. Of course not. We don't know, right? So you have to look, and most people can't even fucking conceive of the fact that not only do we have this situation where we have this gray area where we don't know for sure either way, but that the false accusation rate will depend on the report rate and the prevalence of rape. Okay? So yes. Dumb people, they need dumb ideas.
Let me I'll try and put it this way. Like there's an overarching feeling of these things being broadly addressed. I would to be completely fair, broadly addressing topics is something that Jordan Peterson is just as guilty of as is the ideological opponents that he usually and regularly stands, and rightly so, stand against. My main criticism is that there's this man who has really good salient points, and he's had great salient points too, but there was a very distinct and very, very succinct, and I think you probably saw it too, there was a point where things changed, and that effectual nuance, that little scope of brilliance has now been kind of watered down. Now, you could say that is a byproduct of the environment, of him getting his message out there. Maybe he's doing more good than he is doing harm. I don't know. I don't think there's really a good, easy answer for either of us in this conversation, but
I'm looking at it as far as his intent.
Oh, I don't. Right? No, I don't think he's a bad guy.
His intent is not the question.
Yeah,
honestly, it's his media. It's his media nature.
Yeah,
which has been promoted and pushed out by somebody who is very obviously disingenuous.
Right, and I've never thought that Jordan B. Peterson was a disingenuous person. The things that I have the main criticism of is more whoever it is that is coordinating, and I know who it is, but I'm just being honest here. Whoever it is that is coordinating this public image of him. Because if you just watch his lectures, you watch like some of his old, I love watching his old lectures. He's a great lecturer. He's fucking awesome. Yeah. Like he'll like find a pop culture reference for some nerdy TV show. He's like, well, actually, you know, if you watch this episode of Supernatural and it's just really interesting, and he just loves to talk about it, and people like get engaged, and it's great. But as soon as he became a megastar and somebody else had their hand up his ass trying to make him say what they wanted him to say about a culture war, everything got all fucked up. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the answer is.
The culture war exists. I'm going to tell you that right now. It does exist.
But it
exists largely, though. Honestly, it exists largely because so many of the people who bank out on it insist that it must. It's like any other political narrative. It's this notion in people's minds that is sold to them by people who they are told that they should trust, that they should just keep going with it. And they never stop to really actually ask, why are these people so enthusiastic about sowing, as we've said in this conversation, why are these people so invested in really pushing these notions of division? Because they make lots of money on it. If we deny that shit, we are denying the nature of all of this.
We can't keep going on this. We'll be at this all fucking night. Let me catch up real quick with our Streamlabs, and then we're gonna watch some funny shit for the lighthearted aspect. You know?
Okay.
But I mean, like, we all respect each other, whether or not we fucking disagree. Like, it's fine. It's not.
Well, these are the good conversations that actually need to happen, in my opinion.
I know. If our show was longer than 2 hours, I'd be like, fucking, we're going all night, bitch. Who cares?
We'll get there. Don't worry.
Ugh, oh my god, Jable says.
And hang on. Let's also just take a moment to thank Karen for actually being willing to take part in this, despite the fact that she has so much other shit to do.
Oh, I know.
I do have a lot, you know, and I'm going to take this opportunity to plug what I'm doing.
Yes, please. Go for it.
What I'm doing is I'm on the organizing committee for the next International Conference on Men's Issues, which will be held in Chicago, August 16th to 18th at a super secret location. And Honey Badger Brigade is organizing it this year. And we will be introducing a stream on the culture war. So we will have 2 simultaneous streams of lectures and panel discussions going on.
Interesting.
Yeah, one on men's issues specifically, and the other on the overlapping issues, right? So the issues that overlap with men's issues. So things that we've had problems with, like SJWs, deplatforming, censorship, all of that kind of stuff. So we're hoping to have some high caliber speakers. We already have a number of high caliber speakers, including Janice Fiamengo, who's amazing, as our keynote on anti-feminism. We're going to have 3 keynotes, one on anti-feminism, one on men's issues, and one on the culture war. And we are essentially, we're just hoping that we can do some cross-pollination and get some, some attention on men's issues from the perspective of people who have essentially been shut down on Twitter, or, they've had their opinions stifled. They don't feel free to speak up. Maybe they've thought things for a long time and don't feel safe to talk about them, right? Because they're going to get attacked. They're going to get called a sexist or a misogynist or a bigot or a racist or whatever, right? We're hoping to get those people in there and get a whole bunch of cross-pollination going on. So
cool.
Essentially, yeah, that's what we're doing, and we have some awesome speakers that we're going to be announcing fairly soon for the Culture Wars. We've got our men's rights lineup set up already. That was the priority because it is a men's rights conference, and this secondary stream, we've got some good announcements to make in the future. So.
All right, well, sweet. Check it out for that. Jable says, my biggest issue with JBP is that he's blatantly said that any true atheist would just murder people. I don't want to get into it, but yeah, that is something that kind of bothers me.
Where did he say that?
Yeah, he said that. Yeah, he said that. He
Really?
Jordan has said on many occasions, like, basically, without the rules of God, no man can truly understand basic morality and would just murder everybody indiscriminately. He has fucking said that.
Oh, yeah. Could you link that to me? Because if he
Jables.
actually said that, the chat send the link.
I think he spoke out of turn. He probably didn't really mean
send
what he
me
said.
The link. Like, no, I think that there are people who if they didn't have that objective written down morality, that they would violate.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's like the slippery slope of religion. Like, does religion have any value? Well, did it keep us from killing each other at some point? Well, then it at least had some good.
Yeah, and also like with the internet these days, the fact that like we're supposedly able to find whatever information we need at any given time, this is why I hate the fact that charlatans like this.
Dog, be quiet! I will murder you. Okay, so essentially, if he actually came out and said that, I want to know, because I will bitch slap him over it.
I think it was just like I said. I think it was mostly like kind of speaking out of turn. Somebody said in the chat, and this is a really good point. They were basically saying like he's a psychologist, he's not a philosopher, and he's not a theologian, and he should stay in his lane. And I don't think that means that he can't talk about theology or philosophy.
Waitress. I'm a waitress. Should I stay in my lane?
No.
You're not a waitress anymore.
But like people do have strengths, and like I think when he gets a little out there, when fucking Dave Rubin like gives him some fucking sniff, and he's like, hey, why don't you like start talking about God? Everything gets all weird. I'm not suggesting. I'm not saying that Dave Rubin is giving Jordan B. Peterson drugs, and that's why he says all this wacky, stupid shit at times.
I can almost guarantee you,
but he
right?
Be.
And I can't guarantee you, but I can almost guarantee you that Jordan Peterson is an atheist.
He's not an atheist.
No,
he's definitely not.
All right. Yeah, no.
He has never said he believes God exists. He has said, I act as if God exists.
Right. That's not an atheist. That's a
agnostic.
That's an agnostic.
No, that is, well, okay, there you go. I don't think he believes that there is a God. He just essentially says, I act as if God.
I'll be honest with you, Karen. I'll be honest with you. It's really hard to buy that when he repeatedly and continually not only says like that we need to act as though God exists, but he also hang on. He also really goes hard on we need to be Jesus freaks in order to have a good society.
Jonathan Haidt is an atheist as well. And he has essentially said that there has never been an early stage civilization that did not have temples.
Well, Jonathan Haidt also is Jonathan Haidt is a very classy gentleman that I honestly think Jordan B. Peterson would be lucky if he gets half as classy as him.
What I'm saying is
love Jonathan Haidt.
That I think Jordan Peterson and Jonathan Haidt both view religion, right? They view the narrative of religion that we are all the children of one God, and therefore we are all brothers and sisters of one Father. Okay?
And that's a fine statement.
Okay, that this is no, it's not a fine statement.
Why? What's wrong with it?
You can say it's a fine statement. Oh, it's fine. It's great.
Yeah, it's sacred. It's meaningless. It doesn't mean anything.
From your position in a studio, right, where you have a microphone and a green screen and all of that stuff, and heating and hot and cold running water and all of that stuff, right?
Sure.
You can view it as kind of a quaint notion, right? But when it comes to the early stages of civilizations, right, that notion that we are all united under one father, right, or under one mother, although the only civilizations that really grew were under one father. I wonder why. Let's not get into that. But we are all united. We are all siblings under one father. Right, that has been the unifying force, right? Okay, that adherence to a deity has been the unifying force that has actually propelled societies, like hunter-gatherer tribes, societies, into civilizations, right? And it has actually allowed us to behave in some ways, right? Cooperate to the point where we can build freeways rather than bent sticks to dig grubs out of logs, right?
Okay. No, I hear what you're saying.
Just listen.
I'm listening.
Okay, so when you look at the impact of religion, you can't just look at the deaths in the name of religion, of warring religion, or warring sects of religion. Sure. You have to actually look at what is the narrative of religion, particularly Abrahamic religions, right? In terms of unifying a population around one father, one progenitor, right? That therefore says, and this is why in the military you have all of this rhetoric, a band of brothers, you have all of this rhetoric of fraternity, brotherhood, all of that stuff, right? We're all related to each other, right? Because you know what? Our closest living relatives, chimpanzees, they tolerate each other. They cooperate not quite so good as we do, right? To the point of being able to make groups of 150 to 200 individuals, right? Because all of the males are actually genetically related to each other. So what you're doing with religion is you are consolidating the cooperation of the community, right? And what you're doing by saying we have this force above us, right, that is guiding our hands and guiding our actions cooperatively and collectively, right? That is what gives a society the boost that it needs to transcend into a civilization. And then we get to a point where we say, well, we don't really need this stuff. And maybe we don't. But throwing it away is not, I think, maybe letting it evolve out, right? Evolve away the way it's done in Britain, right?
Okay.
Britain, 51% of people are not religious. And that's not because they were steered away from religion. It's because they just grew out of it.
Let me put it this way. I'll try and do this succinctly and quickly, because like we got some funny videos that we should watch. Let's start with the very basics. When it comes down to primatology, giving examples of how primates like to adhere and to build into groups, and like this type of group situation, this cohesive of group situation is a net benefit, and maybe in some ways like religion is kind of an analog for the primeval sort of primate group consolidation.
There's no chimpanzee troop that ever built a fucking freeway.
No, that's true. But at the same time, like, this is the closest analog that we have towards the animal kingdom. But at the same time, that isn't to say that, there's a sense of purity there. And chimpanzees habitually will grab the lower caste status babies and bash their brains out on fucking rocks.
Yes.
From the very beginning of human civilization.
Maybe it's because they don't have religion.
From the very beginning of human civilization, there's no actual attributations that religion had any hand in turning from a nomadic to an agrarian society. There's nothing that says that gods or anything actually had anything to do with it.
Not from a nomadic agrarian society, from a society to a civilization.
Right, but here's the problem. The first main civilizations that human beings constructed were not monotheistic societies. They were pantheistic societies.
Yes.
It went from animism into a pantheonic system into a monotheistic. Why did we go monotheistic?
What are the traits of what are the religious backgrounds? What are the religious traditions of the most successful societies on Earth today?
Well, it's irrelevant. It's time has passed and religions rise and fall. You know, if we're talking about those that are the most ancient, those that have the most staying power, I would say Hinduism, which is still a polytheistic society that not only is still extremely religious but embraces mainstream science. And in fact, if science supersedes the will of the gods themselves, they will embrace the science over the god themselves. And this is 1 billion people, a seventh of the entire population of the planet, are people adhering to a polytheistic religion that will put science above their own beliefs. So I mean, like, the thing is, we have this idea that religion was this building block of society. And you know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It was one of the main functioning structures that allowed our civilization, our entire species, to thrive and to exist.
Gathering around an idea.
Right.
And an idea that's above
was around religion.
That you can't necessarily know, and that's the thing, right?
But here's the thing. Everybody thought pulling out was going to be fine until they realized that, hey, condoms work better. So the same thing goes with fucking religion. The same fucking thing. They're like, well, we could build a society.
I'm not arguing against that, but what I'm arguing is that not everybody is as smart as you and as Nick and as me.
But they can be. They can be. Human beings, yes. Yes, 100%.
Not everybody can be as smart as everybody else. No, there is a ceiling.
Absolutely.
There's a genetic ceiling, a genetically applied ceiling to your potential for intelligence.
Karen, there's an amazing lecture I want you to look up. It's by this guy. You might have heard of him. His name is Jordan Peterson. And Jordan Peterson actually has this lecture about breaking down the barriers of genetic and cultural inhibitions in their own intelligence. And Jordan Peterson himself does an amazing lecture, and I love this lecture, talking about how we can break down those artificial limits that we think are real.
Now, because we're beyond
Jordan does that.
And but not all limits are artificial.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
You'd be the first to it.
Okay, well, you know,
not everybody gets to be a physics professor. Some people have to pump the gas. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
We're gonna link that.
It's not that some people have to pump the gas. It's that some people are only capable of pumping gas.
I think some people just want to pump the gas.
Yeah, and there are some people, my kids.
And there's nothing wrong with pumping gas.
High IQ. One of them works at Walmart. The other one works as a dishwasher.
Karen, right? You're really gonna love this.
40s, right? But they just don't care, right? They have no ambition. I'm fine with that. But what you're looking at there are a proportion of people who may not be able to, and this is really where we got into this discussion, right? When he said, you know, if people don't have a book telling them what's moral and what's not, they won't know not to kill people. It's like, yeah, well, you know, there are some people out there who, if they do not have some kind of something, right,
they'll never achieve.
No, well, they may actually do things that are bad, and there are some people who, regardless, right, of their intelligence, because a lot of sociopaths are extremely intelligent, who will go ahead and do that if there is no higher authority stopping them from doing it.
Okay, but here's the thing. This is a show, and
all
right.
Come on, Jeff.
That's right. Sorry.
I know.
All right, let me catch up. Let me catch up with our Streamlabs, and we'll watch our videos real fast. All right.
Go on.
Sorry.
Do it.
Giovanna Liviana says, by the way, Nick, I'm full of disappointment because you know wear wizard uniform from promo. Bad wizard, bad! Gerardo says, drink whiskey, it's good for you. Ask Nick, he agrees. I agree with that.
I agree.
My friend Yami says, towards the death shot, since you want to play with dangerous things, that was just $1. So, I mean, I'm way off from death shot. Crab90 says, the common theme here is the fact that media ecosystem running on a 24-hour news cycle promotes a cult-like fan bases, or in particular media personalities for the sake of more on-air time, attention. TV did it, and now new media is starting to do it. And you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
No,
Dragon,
not wrong.
No, yeah, I mean, I think we're all in agreement on that one. Fucking Dragon of the West says, your explanation for false rape accusations reminds me of the Drake equation, which is the equation to determine the likelihood of advanced alien civilization. Before you can figure that, how many world can support life? Before that, how many planets exist? What the Dragon, you told me you stopped smoking weed, and you gotta send me a goddamn Streamlabs like this. What the fuck?
I understood that.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, thank God. Because I lost it.
No, and it makes perfect sense.
Squirrel of Satan says Ted Cruz is a Zodiac killer, and you're not wrong. He is, actually, and we've known this. Let's watch these videos. So Karen, I sent you a link to a mice circle.
Yeah. I've got it. KFC Innovations Lab.
Oh, we got a few different things in here.
Japanese human milking.
Anime Moon says,
watch this.
Anime Moon said, did someone say silly videos? I got silly videos. Oh, hi, Karen. Excuse me. Gotta go bug Hannah about my article being done for Monday. I'll prod her extra for you. I don't know what that means, but okay. All right. And I gotta get rid of Nick's photograph thing.
Yeah, please get rid of that.
There we go. Got a couple of... Is this not working now? Oh, my fucking... Fuck you. Really? Oh, no, here we go.
I'm happy if I don't have to watch the Japanese human milking.
It's pretty quick. He's made us play this before.
This again, huh?
Yeah. Anime Moon, why is this happening again? I'm very upset. Why? Ugh. That's Anime Moon. Anyway, Nick, introduce this next segment.
I just want to say, feel traumatized now.
I know.
Oh no!
Because you don't know. You have never milked your breast.
I milked my wife. I milked my wife, actually. I literally grabbed a pail.
What the fuck?
What? Am I not supposed to tell that story? No, okay, never mind. I never did that.
No, that was not remote.
Oh, what?
Honestly, with the shit he's shown me today, I'm like, that's not even the most, like, wonderful.
Okay, this reminds me of that time that a friend of mine sent me a kind of a 30-second long GIF.
I never milked my wife, guys. I'm sorry.
A 30-second long GIF of some guys standing in what looked like a tributary to the Amazon River, right? And one of them, he was standing there with his pants down, and the other guy was standing there holding a fish, right? That was like really, really, really interested. And then they let the fish...
Wait, hang on. Was the guy or the fish interested?
The fish was interested. And they let the fish go, and it swam forward, and it just started sucking this guy's dick.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, and I was like, whoa, what? And that's what this thing reminds me of. Milking.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna have to ruminate on that for a while.
This is what I guess what guys in the Amazon River Basin do when they got nothing else to do.
Suppose.
No.
All right.
Well, that was lovely.
Nick, so you got to do your spiel, and now for.
I'm kind of retarded.
Oh yeah,
Something completely different.
That's right.
Yeah, thank you, Karen. Now for something completely different. This is the thing you have to deal with now.
All this inventing has me worn out. I wish I could find a way to relax my sore muscles in water between the temperatures of 100 and 102 degrees Fahrenheit. Say that gives me an idea.
Do you like breakthrough ideas? Do you like supporting crowdfunding campaigns?
I just want to say, I'm already totally in love with this video. This is amazing.
Yep. I would like you all to notice, though, hang on, that this low-res, lo-fi, sort of backwater, like homespun crowdfunding campaign comes to you from KFC.
And is on a mission to create new products and new experiences. This man needs your support to make them for real, in the real world, through crowdfunding. This is...
Hi, I'm Bernard, head inventor at Kentucky Fried Chicken's Innovations Lab. KFC was founded by Colonel Sanders when he invented the patented pressure fryer and the 11 herbs and spices.
This is like Nintendo Labo, but for fucking fast food. What the fuck?
Yeah, I love the fact that Adult Swim has decided that making KFC central point has led us to this.
I'm taking that spirit of innovation and bringing new ideas to life. Like this idea. That's better. I can just feel the tension melting away in this tastefully branded wood-fired hot tub. It features rugged craftsmanship.
I'm not gonna lie, I would 100% bathe in a giant KFC bucket.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie either, and I would like to thank Colonel Sanders for inventing the pressure fryer.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Well, here's the thing. Pressure fryer, it's like a pressure boiler, right? Which makes the water boil at a higher temperature than the boiling point of water.
Sure.
Because it applies pressure to it. Same with a pressure fryer. It increases the temperature that you can fry things at and cooks them faster and makes them crispier on the outside.
And and with this hot tub, we could have pressure fried millennials who would never eat at KFC.
Certainly, except for my guy, because he's a millennial, because I'm a total cougar. So
yeah,
thermocycling technology and enough backyard branding to make your neighbors hungry.
Wow, I have never ejaculated emojis before, but I aspire to one day do that.
Good inventions, and so is this one. You should get it.
That's totally like Japanese there. Yeah, that's like so meme Japanese.
Oh my god.
Launching out of the hot tub with a contrail behind
you. Now, the best way, honestly, I will say this, the best way to support a project like this is to give Streamlabs donations to the YouTube Saints for featuring it. Because, you know what?
Does that sound like something you'd like to see brought to life? Developing breakthrough inventions is expensive, and I need your help. Support this crowdfunding campaign today, and KFC Innovations Lab will really turn this innovation idea into innovation reality.
See, the best way you can go about this is honestly to donate to the YouTube Saints via Streamlabs, and then tweet, and then tweet.
Oh wait, PayPal.
No. Streamlabs does this really well, but then you tweet and you tag KFC in your screenshot saying, hey, I gave to the YouTube Saints because they love your chicken so much. And then we end up where we are, which is where we all have to be, no matter what we do.
Did you know that chicken is actually really high in omega-6 fatty acids, and so it's not really that great for you?
I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry. Karen, someone gives you a plate of fried chicken. Are you going to say no because of the omega-6s?
Fuck no. I'm not going to say no, but I'd probably regret it later in life. And, you know, I'm getting to the point. You know, I'm getting up there. I'm 48 years old. I'm getting up there. I'm later in life.
So. The whole point is like, yeah, later in life is going to come soon. It's not here now. It's not here now.
Not yet.
But, no. But all the same, if you guys really like the idea of being able to fry yourselves like a bunch of fried chicken in a KFC hot tub, go ahead and give us money. Because, I mean, that won't advance the cause of the KFC hot tub, but all the same, it'll keep Karen Straughan from boiling herself alive because she, on this International Women's Day, has been convinced that that's what she needs to do to stay svelte and sexy.
Excuse me. Hey, are you saying that people giving you money is going to help me in some way?
I think we should just run with this idea.
I think that maybe you need to think through your.
She was really uncertain about that. I want everyone to hear that. She had no idea. Like, hey, that sounds like a good idea. I'm not so sure about it, but all the same.
Totally back your idea. Totally behind it.
There we go.
Can't see anything wrong with it.
You have just heard it here live on YouTube.
Neither logically nor morally. Nothing wrong with your idea. People, throw money at Nick and Jeff. And somehow I will benefit from that.
Here? That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
See, I'm so happy.
Jeff, though, did his wife, like, drag him off and beat him for talking about, like, the milk bucket?
Yeah, probably, but like he's not altogether upset about that, so we'll just let him
screaming. So,
well, no, you don't. It's because they have this really weird soundproof room in their house. If anybody here, by the way, is interested in really going after Jeff, just ask him about the soundproof room. Yeah,
the soundproof room.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when I was asking who was it?
Oh, well, you can actually find the link to that on Pornhub, but that's neither here nor there.
I'm not gonna go looking for that. I already have a 16-year-old who shares too much of his non-existent sex life. So
it's just gonna end up being a thing like, it's Karen Straughan. Yeah, I know Jeff Holiday, and I'd really rather not discuss what kinds of fans my teenage children are.
Oh my God! Literally, I have a 16-year-old who tells me what kinds of porn he's watched.
What? No. I'm gonna take your line on this. In that, no, I'd rather not. Hey Jeff, how's it going? I hope that video you guys shot was good and quick.
What the hell? Where were you, Jeff?
What? Me? I was peeing.
I thought you were being beaten by your wife for the milk bucket thing.
Why?
Because the milk bucket needs to be filled, Jeff. And if you're not beaten, that won't happen.
Gotcha. Anyway, so thank you very much for everybody out here tonight. I think that's pretty much it, don't we?
No, we got the one last thing.
Oh, is there another video? Please tell me.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, there is.
No.
Oh, there is.
No.
Yes, there is.
Okay,
No.
fine. Jeff.
No.
We're gonna do it.
No, I don't want to do it.
We're gonna do
it.
Yeah.
We'll hold hands.
Listen, she's willing to hold your hand.
Metaphorically.
Fucking Christ.
Yeah.
What do you think about
What do you think about it? I mean, sure this doesn't surprise you. I'm sure this doesn't surprise you.
It's kind of a familiar story.
We're echoing like a motherfucker, dude. No.
Okay, I'm gonna mute.
We were here with Ghostbusters. It seems like any time.
Who the fuck? Literally who? Literally who is that?
In the water for a male-dominated field, we're right back here. It's so frustrating.
Do you think? And the social media platforms have been, they say, working hard. Twitter has made a lot of changes to fight online harassment. But does this go to show they're just not getting it or doing enough?
You know what I'm thinking? Your first story was about Facebook moving to more privacy. And I feel like part of the backlash of women just being exhausted with being targeted online, it makes sense that people would want to move towards more private social profiles. So I think it's hand in hand. I think it's
oh God, please become more private, you bitch!
Privacy is a gendered issue.
I do,
essentially.
Absolutely, I do. Well, it affects men too, for sure, but yeah.
So do you think that...
Oh, it affects men for sure too, but yeah, no, like women.
The best part.
Oh my fucking.
Okay, come on, hang on. We haven't gotten to the best part yet.
I know. Okay,
because...
it's okay. Just you can play it.
As these, they're trying to get out of control, and Mark Zuckerberg we'll see what a more private Facebook actually looks like. But does this mean we need legislation?
Well, I think that there is certainly a role in Washington for us to address what women face both in the tech industry and what users face on the other side. Something we've seen is really big promises from Facebook, from Twitter, from Reddit, from all these companies.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh my fucking, like you can like fucking lick my sweaty butt crack, literally who?
I swear to God.
That right there was so worth us doing this, Jeff. Right there. That soundbite.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. This fucking bitch, will she not go away? Make your fucking profiles private. Everybody would be happier. Jesus, fuck.
Yep. So yeah, apparently according to, and listen, this is one actual candidate to another, Brianna. I know you watch this show. You're big support of the show. No, we don't need the government keeping...
Like, honestly.
Keeping people on the internet from commenting on...
I am a woman on the internet with genuinely unpopular opinions.
You don't say.
Right? Yeah. Genuinely, like, I don't have a column at The Guardian. I don't have a fucking, I don't get interviewed on fucking Bloomberg, right? I don't get that shit. Okay? I don't get any, and you know what? You can just fucking let it wash off your back like battery acid off a duck's back. Right? You can just let it wash off of you.
Let it go.
Just ride through it. And you know what? If you don't fucking act like, oh, you're being mean, then people stop being mean. I went up against fucking Medicare and his fanboys.
You did.
You know what I told them? Your memes are faggy.
Well,
and then they just, like, all of a sudden they realized, oh, geez, I guess we can't, there's, like, just no way to attack this woman that'll make her run away. Burst into tears crying. Like, are you, like, what? Like, I don't...
When they don't have any power over you, it doesn't mean anything anymore.
Well, no, but, like, okay, Medicare has a certain amount of influence, right? Like, sure. when I decided to make a video about him and internet blood sports and all of that stuff, right? I knew I was stepping into a minefield. I knew that it was like you know, it could actually result in some damage, right? And I was like, fuck it, who cares? I lose 1,000 subscribers and I just keep going the way I'm going, right? Whatever, I don't care, right? You take the hit, you move on. That's how I went into it, right? You take the hit, you move on, right?
Yeah, it's not like YouTube Saints has ever, I don't know,
taken a hit. No,
never. Of course not. Never.
Not what I was going for, but okay.
You guys have you've never been attacked, ever.
Never. I've never been attacked.
No, absolutely 100%. I have this on good authority. You guys have never experienced any kind of anything.
No controversies.
Actually, do you know what we learned the trick was? Is not to promote CP. That weird.
Okay, you know what? All right, nope. Stop it right there. Stop it. We're not even getting into that fucking conversation.
Oh, hang on. Shit. Okay, we're not gonna go into that, but let's. I mean, we have to end the show. We're well over. Hang on, we're well over time.
We're well over time, but I'm just gonna provide this one anecdote from Lawrence of Arabia.
Okay.
Right. When he put out a cigarette on his hand, and Corporal Potter said, "Doesn't that hurt?" And he said, "Of course it hurts. The trick is not minding that it hurts."
That's right. That's absolutely right. And that is the internet in a nutshell. Dragon of the West says, "I am not high, Jeff. I just ran out of characters. Also, I have a bad habit of skipping words and typing real fast." Anime Moon says, "Hey, and helping test that hot tub. Also, you know, you were itching for the extended edition, Jeff. Don't think I didn't see your lip quivering the first time. Fuck you." Crab90 tossed a little bit to us. Thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. Look, guys, Karen is amazing. Go check out her YouTube channel. Go follow her on fucking Twitter. She's an absolute stud. A stud muffin. You are a stud muffin, Miss Karen Straughan.
I'm a stud muffin?
You're a stud muffin. You're a stud muffin. If I was a gay man, I'd be fucking like swooning all over you.
Are you offending me? Because, like,
are you offended?
And from Twitter for that.
Are you offended if I misgender you?
No, not really.
No, of course not. Of course you're not. Because you're a fucking badass, and we love you.
Also, as we end this wonderful episode of Saints, we should all take a moment to remember the legacy of Jan Michael Vincent.
Jan Michael Vincent.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
R.I.P. and pepperonis, Jan Michael Vincent. Oh, fuck. You gotta make me have to...
That is so sad. My man's father died of early onset Alzheimer's from organic brain injuries and chemical exposures. And he died young for, you know, like, it was a long, protracted, you know, from age 60 to age 66, and it was just horrendous and awful, and so yeah.
It's a hell of a thing. It's a hell of a thing.
It's an awful thing.
It is. It honestly really is. But you know, life goes on, and so shall we. We will see you guys next time Wednesday on the Twitch channel, Midweek Saints, and otherwise right back here a week from today. We have been your YouTube Saints. We love you. You fucking beautiful, shitty, weird mutant diamonds. We'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.